everybody, I'm Jammer, and in the Nintendo Direct Mini the other day, they just decided to just announce the next Smash Bros. DLC fighter coming out later this summer in June, being a character from ARMS. No trailer, no lead up to it, just like, oh, by the way, an ARMS character is coming to Smash. And I'm actually super excited for this, because going into Smash Ultimate, a lot of people were really hoping for an ARMS character to make it in. And then as soon as we saw Springman, and then how Sakurai talked about how newer characters didn't have enough time in the development cycle of Ultimate to actually make it in the game. So I really felt like the hype or the want for an ARMS character in Smash kind of just died with that announcement. Even the game itself, it kind of just lost its momentum, and a lot of people have moved on to playing other games. But I personally love ARMS, and I am really excited to see what ARMS character is going to make in the Smash, and that's kind of what today's video is all about. They left it open as an open-ended invitation. They just said an ARMS character is coming, and they showed the entire cast of all the characters in the game. So while the surprise factor of what character is going to be the next DLC fighter, in addition to when that character is coming out, is gone, we're left with the speculation of what ARMS character is actually going to make it as the fighter here, as the first fighter of the second fighter pass. But before we jump into things, if you are new here, perhaps consider subscribing. It's free, you can always change your mind later, and you can expect tons more on Smash Ultimate, and more particularly Animal Crossing content. It's kind of been my current obsession of late. Without further ado, let's get started. Before we go one by one talking about each character and their potential to be in Smash and how they would work, I think it makes more sense to take this at more of a broader approach. Kind of look at how an ARMS character would play in Smash, what kind of abilities would the fighter have, and what would make them separate themselves from the rest of the cast. And kind of just talk about the general stuff when it comes to an ARMS character being playable in Smash. ARMS is a very different fighting game, and if you think it's just Wii boxing, you're completely wrong there. Because of the extension of the character's fists when you punch, there's a lot of long cooldown in between each attack you perform, so it's really more about methodical waiting out your opponent, waiting for the time to strike, and angling your attacks so they accurately hit the opponent. There's the typical fighting game triangle where blocks beat punches, punches beat grabs, and grabs beat blocks. So it's all about aiming and making sure your punches land, as well as maneuvering your character throughout the environment. So how that would kind of translate into the space of Smash would of course be a character with a lot of range using those spring arms. There'd be more of an emphasis on being smart with what punches you throw out and not just randomly throwing out attacks because of the long cooldown of bringing the arm eventually back to your character. Beyond that, the character would have some sort of extended or long tether grab, and I could see that being a highlight of the ARMS character's moveset, perhaps even having its tether grab be one of the main gimmicks of the fighter. Maybe you could angle your tether so then you actually have more control of where your grab and your attacks for that matter go. Another gameplay aspect of ARMS is charging. After performing a dodge, if you hold down the dodge button, you'll charge up your arms. And what that does, it actually activates the special abilities of said equipped arms and provides more knockback damage or the elemental ability of the arm you're using. So I think this is a mechanic that will translate into a Smash character in some form, whether that be holding a certain button after performing an attack, perhaps after you're doing a dodge roll, you continue to hold the dodge roll, or maybe you click A as soon as you land back into an actionable state. Beyond that, another really important mechanic about ARMS is the customization of your arms. You can swap out different arm types for each of your left and right arm to mix and match and make your own customized moveset essentially. Each arm has different attributes, like light, medium, and heavy attacks, different elemental attacks that do different kind of status effects. I don't expect them to fully let you be able to customize your arm setup before going into a match in Smash. I could maybe see it something like different attacks you execute will immediately equip a certain arm type, so maybe like a side B would use the boomerang, but then, or the down, maybe the side B would use the slapperang, while like a down smash move would have you auto-equip and slam down the big megaton arms. So to recap, the character will be kind of based around a lot of distance attacks with lots of long cooldowns, which in turn would make them very punishable. I could see them somehow incorporating the charging arm mechanic by holding down a button, or maybe even incorporating it to some kind of special meter. They'll of course have some sort of extended tether grab that can be probably angled and directed just like your arms can in air. And then finally the customizable arms. I think different arm types will be represented in different moves you can do, and although you can't change them out mid-match in ARMS, I think that's the best way to translate them into Smash so you can get a wider variety of a moveset. But when it comes to actually choosing the playable character that's going to be in Smash, it really comes down to like just a couple of aspects. For one, whatever character they choose is going to be the one that's going to be showing off these main mechanics of ARMS. The methodical punching, the charging, the tether grab, the customizable arms. Like, those are going to be the main mechanics of this fighter. And the thing about the fighters in ARMS is each character has very unique and distinct abilities that sets them apart from the rest of the cast. So what it comes down to next, who would take this spot as the fighter here in Smash Brothers? I've seen people mention and talk about doing a kind of hero situation where they just throw in a bunch of different fighters all as alt costumes. One of the pros of that is, they already get to represent more characters from the game. But the con of doing that is that the unique abilities that each character had in ARMS are completely left behind. So instead of going down the alternate costume route, I'm sure whatever stage that comes along with this character could totally represent the rest of the cast from ARMS, just like Three Houses or the Terry stage where other ARMS characters could appear in the background. I think what it really comes down to for what kind of character to choose as the representative in Smash is, for one, they need to show off the main mechanics of ARMS, all the stuff we talked about previously, but their specific character ability is not too distracting from that. So now with that extended intro out of the way, let's actually jump in and go through all the characters. Starting with the characters that I feel are just pretty basic, don't really offer a ton of unique gameplay aspects to Smash, or more, I feel that other characters are more deserving to be in the game. The next set we'll talk about are characters that do have some interesting stuff, but some of their mechanics are pretty similar to other characters already in Smash. And then finally, we'll wrap it up with a handful of characters that I think would make a great addition to the game. First off, the first one to talk about is, of course, Springman. Now, for one thing, if he did make it in, people would freak out because now that means an assist trophy just got promoted within the same game to a full-blown fighter, which would be pretty unprecedented. Springman has two unique abilities in ARMS. He can deflect attacks when dashing, so perhaps when he does a dodge roll in Smash, it could knock opponents' attacks away or something. And his other ability is basically Rage, so once he's near death, his arms are permanently charged, giving him more attack power, knockback, and etc. So really, all in all, Springman doesn't offer that much unique abilities to the game. And being the poster boy for the title, I don't know, I just feel like there's so many other unique characters in this cast that are much better worth picking over him. Kind of building off of Springman, it's worth talking about right off the bat Springatron as well. He's essentially the exact same as Springman. The only difference is he has a shockwave ability that'll disable arms out of air. But I think Springatron is in the same boat as Springman that I don't see very likely to be happening. The next character is Ribbon Girl. In ARMS, she has the ability to jump 4 times, because most characters can only jump once, and she also has the ability to be able to fast fall really quickly to the ground to be able to input an attack. While this could be something very easily translated into Smash, I feel like the ability itself isn't that unique, all things considered. Although the ability is not distracting from the main mechanics of the ARMS stuff, I just feel like giving the character extra jumps is just not enough of a unique ability. Next character is Ninjara, and in ARMS, his ability when he dodges, he'll throw a smoke bomb, so basically his hitbox just disappears every time he dodges, whether he's in the air or ground. And again, like Ribbon Girl, he doesn't really bring that much unique to the table. He's basically got the Mewtwo dodge where he just teleports around. I don't think he's very likely to be the DLC fighter. Next character is Kid Cobra. His ability in ARMS is when he charges up his arms, his dash speed and dash distance increases. So however they incorporate the dash mechanic in the game, just having the character, roll a little bit farther, I guess, or maybe have more invulnerability during the roll or something in Smash. Again, ability I don't think would be very unique. Next up is Mechanica. Her ability in ARMS lets her hover while she's jumping and dashing so she can move across the stage while charging up her arms. She does have some super armor that does prevent very light attacks from knocking her back. So in Smash, she could have, like a light super armor during certain attacks or something. But again, I feel like the hover ability isn't unique enough to warrant her being the DLC fighter. Next up is Master Mummy, the big boy of ARMS. He does have some pretty interesting abilities. First off, whenever he's blocking, he actually continuously heals back his own damage. And I feel like if that was in Smash, that would be kind of a little broken, because if you just hold shield and get your health back, like, that's a little broken. And beyond that, he also does have super armor to where he gets little to no knockback from regular hits. So although his ability would be really interesting in Smash, I feel like it would just be, for the balancing the game, if you could just self-heal whenever, that's a little too much. Next up is Max Brass. His abilities in ARMS is, first he has Rage, similar to just like Springman, but he also has the ability to buff up. When he holds his dash, his hitbox physically gets bigger. He goes from the size of like someone like Springman to someone like the size of Master Mummy, which nullifies the small attack knockback just like him. And it is a pretty interesting ability. Being able to change the size of your fighter on the will, and like all of a sudden your movement kind of changes. You're a lot slower, you don't jump as high. It could be something cool for Smash, but I don't know. I'm just not feeling Max Brass. The next fighter is Miss Ango, and this is the character I honestly forget is even in ARMS, and I really have no idea why. He has a really interesting ability where he brings along in his fight this spirit companion. And essentially, the little spirit will change color based on what move he just barely executed. Once the spirit is activated, it'll give him a buff. So like red will reduce flinches, blue makes him faster and jump higher, yellow will make him block attacks when he uses his rush ability. And so it could be a pretty cool mechanic to incorporate, but I feel like it's almost kind of like a discount Shulk Monado art thing. And with already juggling all the new arms mechanics that come alongside this character, I feel like layering on top of that a Monado art ability might just be overdoing it. Next up is Bite and Bark. They're the duo character in ARMS. You play as Bite, the robot cop, and you have a little companion, Bark, the little robot dog walking around the stage with you. He can move around, he can attack enemies, he can also obstruct enemy attacks as they come in. The other cool mechanic is Bite can jump on top of Bark and can be used as a launch pad to jump off Bark for an extra boost into the air. It could be a fun mechanic, but we already have Ice Climbers, and we already have Rosalina and Luma as the two fighters, as well as the puppet fighter. And again, it kind of comes down to, I feel like that's just too complex of another mechanic to be layered on top of the new arm mechanics coming with this character. Next up is Lola Pop. She has the ability to inflate, so when she holds shield, she kind of goes into a ball mode, which increases defense, in addition to inflating in the air, which will make her drop to the ground as a bouncy ball, and then she can spring up afterwards. So she's kind of like jumping around the stage and bouncing around in a ball. It could be a pretty interesting mechanic, seeing the characters bounce all over the place in Smash, but I just feel like there are some other characters that could have cooler abilities in Smash. The next character is Twintelle. I would love for her to be the character they choose to be in Smash. But the only reason I'm not putting her at the top of my list, so her ability in ARMS is to like slow down time. Whenever she's in air dashing or on the ground dashing, if attack comes towards her, the enemy will actually slow down and you can like frame perfect and move out of the way of the attack. It is a really cool ability, but it is quite similar to Bayonetta's Witch Time, admittedly. I'm still all for Twintelle making it in the game. I would so love her in the game. She's definitely one of my favorites from ARMS. Although I know her slowdown time thing does act differently than Witch Time, but it does share similar properties. Next up is Dr. Coyle. She was actually the last DLC character to come to ARMS, and she has a handful of unique abilities. First off, she has the ability to hover while she jumps. Her next ability is Third Arm. Essentially, whenever she dashes and charges up her arms, one of her arms will be duplicated, so she'll have a third one to attack with. Beyond that, whenever guarding or getting up after being knocked down, Dr. Coyle will go completely invisible from the enemy, so it kind of disorients your opponent to knowing where you're going to come from next. I feel like all three of these abilities are super unique and can translate really well into Smash without being too distracting from the new mechanics introduced as just an ARMS rep. But let's be real, before we even started the video, we already knew what character Nintendo's probably going to be picking. And that is, of course, one of their most popular characters from this game. Min Min since day one has been a fan favorite and has even won multiple in-game party crashes. She does have a set of two unique abilities in the game. When she performs her mid-air dodge, she'll actually kick attacks away, which could be kind of cool as a mechanic in Smash where if you perform like this aerial kick, maybe you can knock your opponent into free fall or something where they can't act anymore because you just like counter them in air and then you can act from there to turn the table and continue a combo. But her most unique ability is her dragon arm. Whenever she dodges to charge up her arms, her left arm turns into a dragon arm. And what that means is that that particular arm is permanently charged. So the damage increases, the knockback increases, and even after using the left arm, it'll retain its charged status. You can continue to use it over and over. However, it does reset after being hit. I think Min Min comes to the perfect sweet spot as far as the arms representative here in Smash. She has two really unique abilities specifically to her character, her mid-air dodge and the dragon arm, and both of them aren't distracting enough from just the general base moveset that's going to be based around this unique ARMS character. To be honest, the entire ARMS cast is absolutely fantastic, and the fact that any one of them is making the game excites me to no end. I can't wait to... Wait, hold on, oh, I think I forgot to mention something, Helix for Smash! That's right, baby! The true character, the best character from ARMS is, of course, Helix, our boy. Using his shrink ability where he can shrink into a little puddle, his stretch ability when he holds jump to swivel left and right, being a super tall boy, he is the one and only, the true representative to be put into Smash as the next DLC fighter. Our main man Helix, our lord and savior. I'm sorry. In all seriousness, I am so excited for an ARMS representative, and I think really any character has a really great chance. And if they do go down the route of just making a handful of them as alt costumes of each other, or bringing one alongside an Echo Fighter, I'd be totally fine that as well. I really do feel like these characters do have such unique abilities in the game, and it would be kind of sad for them to be left aside. It would feel really weird if Master Mummy and Springman played the same, you know what I mean? So if they did something like an alt costume thing, it would make sense if they did like Springman, Springachan, Ribbon Girl, and maybe throw in like Ninjara or something. But if they do go with just a single character, which I really hope they do, I honestly think the characters that have the best chance of making it is maybe Ribbon Girl, Lola Pop, Twintelle. It'd be cool if they did Dr. Coyle, but I really think Min Min has got the best chance. Oh wait, and of course Helix. Yeah, of course Helix. Forget what I just said. Helix is actually going to be the one they make it in. But definitely let me know in the comments, what character from ARMS do you want to see make it in the game? What are your thoughts on their moveset and how they would play? And how do you hope that they will handle it? Would you rather it be a handful of alt skins with a bunch of different characters, or one specific character that could actually use the in-game abilities that they had from ARMS in their moveset in Smash? Definitely let me know that in the comments below. Be sure to give this video a big awesome like, and if you haven't already, definitely subscribe for tons more on Super Smash Bros. Ultimate and other Nintendo Switch content. Thanks again guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. See ya!